News 12 This Morning in high definition starts now.
Today on News 12 This Morning, the deadline has arrived for city leaders to respond to a lawsuit involving election date changes for voters.
And the latest on the MOX project at SRS, what federal officials are now saying about plans to put the multi-billion-dollar project on standby. And a man abducted for days now thanking his rescuers. New details about the kidnapping of a prosecutor's father. Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, April 30th. Jessica Dell here with meteorologist Tim Strong. We're just right at the end of April already here.
Already.
Getting into May here pretty soon.
Sure are.
Not too much rain yesterday.
Not really a lot here. Maybe a few raindrops, but we have a couple raindrops, some showers beginning to move back in here this morning. And we see a good portion, the western half of the CSRA, seeing the activity kind of like yesterday. We had Wilkes County, we had Tulliver County, and Hancock County, and also Washington County, kind of mainly the west to southwestern half of the CSRA seeing the rainfall here. Not a whole lot of intense activity, although we still see the threat for potential severe weather as we go through the first half of the day, and we're already going to be noticing the showers starting to fill back in here. Across portions of Aiken County, we can see some showers, Barnwell and Allendale, more likely some raindrops for you, but the heaviest of the activity seems to be south of Atlanta from Macon all the way down towards Valdosta, Georgia, heading up north and east. So it looks like a good impact as far as some wet weather. So streets will get a little slick through the morning drive. We got temperatures falling just shy of the 70-degree mark. Southerly winds between about 5 to 10. Expected to be a very breezy forecast for today with winds at 10 to 20, and still really that threat for maybe some strong gusty winds with these thunderstorms and some small hail, and the potential here in the southeast and the two-state for maybe a few isolated tornadoes. Upper 70s to the lower 80s will continue. We can see a less of a chance for thunderstorm impact coming into the afternoon hours. Really the first half of the day seems to be kind of our core from upper 60s to the upper 70s. So details coming up in just a little while. Jess?
Thank you, Tim. Now today is a deadline for city leaders to respond to a lawsuit from the ACLU regarding election dates. Last week, News 12 got a copy of that lawsuit in which 7 people from Augusta stated changing the election dates would hurt minority voter turnout. Our News 12's Patrick Price is live downtown at the Augusta Municipal Building. Patrick, where are we now with this lawsuit?
Jessica, the city of Augusta has hired an attorney to help out with this lawsuit. A federal judge just gave the city a week to respond to those claims in that lawsuit. Now that judge wants an answer today. Some are worried the suit could affect the May 20th vote, less than a month away. According to the Department of Justice, in 2012, black voters were 55% less likely to vote in July than in November. The city switched the election from November to May after a state law change. Now the ACLU is suing on behalf of 2 lawmakers and a group of Augusta residents. One of those, Melvin Ivey, a District 4 commissioner candidate. They're asking a judge to put a stop to the election and to tell them who has legal authority to change the date. It could cost the city thousands of dollars to defend in court. Now, many questions surrounding what will happen if this judge sides with those plaintiffs in this case. What will happen to the May elections? News 12 will be covering this all day, and we'll bring you the latest information as we get it. Jessica?
Okay, thank you, Patrick. Keep us updated. Some Augusta commissioners continue to criticize a penny sales tax that's up for a vote in just 3 weeks. Richmond County Sheriff Richard Roundtree publicly supported the nearly $200 million SPLOST package during a press conference yesterday. The sheriff's office gets more than $22 million in the deal, which the sheriff says they need to update technology. But Commissioner Marion Williams called the speech political.
In my opinion, yeah, I think they're trying to gain support. The mayor was behind it 100%, and it was rushed. I'm gonna do a press conference myself. I'm gonna call some people together to let them know how important it is not to pass this SPLOST.
Williams and Commissioner Bill Lockett both take issue with SPLOST 7 because some of the funding is going toward GRU and Payne College. Now you can take a look at all the projects in the plan and a look at the sample ballot on our website, WRDW.com. From the crime team, an escaped inmate still on the loose this morning after jumping a fence at the Augusta Transitional Center early Monday morning. Robert McClellan was serving a 10-year sentence for theft by taking and had been at the Transitional Center since December. The kidnapping victim, rescued earlier this month in Atlanta, is now thanking the FBI team who saved him. Frank Jansen released a thank you letter yesterday and called his rescue effort nothing short of a miracle. Authorities say his kidnappers actually meant to abduct his daughter, a North Carolina prosecutor. Officials say suspects sent text messages to the 63-year-old's family, threatening to cut him into pieces before the elite FBI team rescued him. A man recovering from a gunshot wound is now charged with criminal trespass. Columbia County deputies say 33-year-old Dennis Wombles went to his ex-girlfriend's home last Friday and attacked a man he found working on her computer. Wombles is accused of then attacking the woman before she shot him in the lower backside. And now for a look at what's bringing in the biggest audiences at the movies.
I'm looking for Mark. You must be his housekeeper.
No, I'm his wife, Kate.
The comedy The Other Woman knocks out Captain America, the Winter Soldier, from its reign at the top. The Cameron Diaz flick made nearly $25 million. Now, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, does hold on, though, dropping to number 2 with $16 million in receipts. The superhero sequel has made nearly $225 million overall now. And in third place, Heaven is for Real, based on a New York Times bestseller about stories of near-death experiences. That made close to $14 million. Rounding out the top 5, Rio 2, and one of the last movies the late Paul Walker starred in, Brick Mansions. Still to come this hour on News 12 this morning, more information today about a methadone clinic robbery. Hear from a witness to the holdup. Plus, a Georgia mother is accused of putting her 6-year-old in a cage as punishment. What a neighbor says she saw before calling police. And video and details about the deadly tornadoes that have ripped through the Midwest and South. It's all ahead. But first, it's not Thanksgiving, but some turkeys seem to be taking revenge. How these animals are terrorizing one town in Minnesota, coming up.
Looks like there are going to be quite a bit of thunderstorms across the south here. We'll monitor that for the first part of the week. Going to be a very warm day here in the metro. Your forecast is next.
You're watching News 12 This Morning in high definition with Jessica Dill and meteorologist Tim Strong.
From the crime team this morning, the case is moving forward against a man accused in a January shooting that left one person dead. A Richmond County grand jury has formally charged 63-year-old Ricky Smith with murder. Deputies say he killed 35-year-old Christopher Paget and shot another person on Moore Road right off Mike Paget Highway. Family members tell News 12 one of the victims and the suspect are related. Augusta leaders expected to review allegations against the Richmond County Fire Chief, spelled out in a more than 100-page binder that was put together by Commissioner Joe Jackson. Jackson lists a number of things he sees as problems with the chief. One concern, how the chief deals with Gold Cross EMS service emergency response times. Both Donnie Smith and Bill Lockett say it's just too early to talk about firing Chief Chris James. And Lockett says the binder just doesn't follow procedure and it's out of line.
No, I didn't read it all because after reading a few pages, my eyes got a little red because I was so infuriated by allegations that were made and there was no substance at all by a few disgruntled employees.
The commission is expected to deal with the allegations in the coming weeks. You can hear from other commissioners about the documents on our website. Just head over to WRDW.com. From the election team this morning, a local group is trying to rally voters for the May elections. Augusta's Interfaith Coalition is holding their Get Out to Vote event. That's tonight. It starts at 6:30 at the Diamond Lakes Regional Park on Windsor Spring Road. In the South Carolina governor's race heating up already. The State Bar Association is criticizing an ad that attacks Democratic challenger Vincent Sheehan. The ad says Sheehan protects criminals as an attorney. Bar officials say the Republican Governors Association ad is actually attacking everyone's constitutional right to legal representation. The Bar is a non-political organization, and publicly criticizing the ad is an unprecedented move. RGA officials say the ad is about Sheehan choosing to represent a sex offender. From the education team, more leadership shakeups in Richmond County schools. Josie High School principal Ronald Wiggins is leaving at the end of the semester. He's taken a job with the Muskogee County School Board in Columbus, Georgia. Now, whoever does take over for Wiggins will have to deal with the upcoming consolidation of Josie Middle and Murphy, or Josie High and Murphy Middle. A city council in South Carolina is throwing more support behind their recently fired police chief. The Latta City Council approved a referendum to weaken the mayor's power. Now, the mayor fired Crystal Moore, the chief of police there. Moore says she was ousted because she's gay, though the mayor denies that. Council members say they hope to rehire Moore. An upcoming referendum will allow voters to decide. It'll put the decision in the council's hands. South Carolina is one of 29 states where an employer can fire someone based on their sexual orientation. Space still available for businesses at the Mill on Park. USC Aiken opened the brand new space yesterday. It's right at the intersection of Lawrence Street and Park Avenue. Now, the hope for this new space is that small businesses will get their start there. The leases are less expensive, but because space there is pretty limited. The building has common space for employees of different businesses to get together and hopefully brainstorm. And USC Aiken also celebrating its student workers. Today marks Student Employee Appreciation Day. The school says it has more than 200 students who work there on campus. USC Aiken says studies show that students who work between 10 to 20 hours per week perform better academically. A look at safety at Plant Vogtle today. Nuclear Regulatory Commission officials will talk about their inspection of the site and its construction of 2 new nuclear reactors. The NRC has already said they did not find any issues that would cause any more safety inspections, so that's some good news there. It's the first nuclear power construction from the ground up in the U.S. in 30 years.
Welcome back, everyone. It is 5:42. Let's see what song they chose to go with.
Stepping out is what it sounds like to me.
I wanted them to go with Lord Royals, but instead we went with this song from the 30s.
It's a good song right here.
Stepping Out, Joe Jackson. Look at this cutie pie. The royal baby making his public debut. Prince George had his first play date at an event during his parents' royal tour in New Zealand. Look at that cutie. His parents say the pint-sized prince is sleeping well and has moved on to solid food. And just like his mom, he's setting fashion trends. Those overalls, they're sold out. $150 a pair now.
$150 a pair.
Sold out.
Gravy.
Just like his mom. Whenever she wears, clothes, that sells out pretty fast.
Trendy, doesn't it?
Very trendy. Look at that cutie pie. That baby has no idea how big of a deal he really is.
Not yet.
Not
yet.
At
all.
Not yet.
Goes to bed, eats, he wakes up, eats, plays, goes to bed, doesn't realize he's future prince.
Doesn't realize he could be
king.
Look how cute. Look at him though. Look at those cheeks. I love the royals. I'm one of those fangirls that's just
fascinated by it. It is fascinating.
I like her. I like him. I like them all. How about the forecast?
Rescue workers are back out searching for missing ferry passengers off the coast of South Korea. At least 146 people are confirmed dead and more than 100 are still missing. Crews will be working around the clock in a little bit better weather conditions as the hunt enters its 8th day. Tara Mergener has the story from Washington.
Now for a check on your world this morning, we turn to Ukraine, where pro-Russian demonstrations are still inside several seized government buildings in 2 cities in the eastern part of the country. The interior minister says the situation will be resolved in the next 2 days, even if they have to use force. Russian officials are accusing Americans of working in operations in eastern Ukraine, disguised as Ukrainian special forces. The U.S. ambassador to Ukraine called the allegation a work of fiction. Moving to South Africa, where Oscar Pistorius is back on the witness stand for cross-examination. Prosecutors are expected to continue to show the former Olympian graphic photos of the body of his girlfriend. Pistorius broke down on the stand multiple times yesterday and refused to look at pictures from the scene. Prosecutors accuse him of lying.
A controversial new law has now been signed into the books, allowing gun owners more freedom when it comes to carrying their firearms. Governor Nathan Deal signed the piece of legislation into law yesterday. Our News 12's Patrick Price is live in downtown Augusta, where folks could be seeing a lot more gun holsters in the coming months. Patrick.
Laura, it's a place full of bars, restaurants, churches, and government buildings, all places you'll be legally allowed to carry a weapon if that business permits. House Bill 60 now allows Georgians to legally carry firearms in some of those places. Deal says the bill creates positive changes in the state gun laws, stating that it promotes self-defense, personal liberties, and public safety. The law allows concealed weapons to be carried if the owner is 21 years old. has no drug or weapons felony convictions and no mental health hospitalization within the past 5 years.
Gives our military men and women 18 and older permission to carry, to obtain a license to carry. You know, if they're old enough to hold a gun in defense of our liberties, they're old enough to hold a gun, and they shouldn't have to wait until they're 21.
Starting July 1st, owners with permits can carry guns in bars and churches that allow them and government buildings that do not have security screening. Now, after signing this law yesterday, our Facebook was flooded with comments for and against the law. Now we'll read a few from Sheba saying, well, I am all for it. Criminals have guns and they take them everywhere. I'm glad to keep my freedom to carry. Too bad for the felons. They need to be worried now. Thank you, Governor Dill. Jessica, simply put, says, I'm getting a gun. And Elizabeth says, don't they have enough shooting in or at bars now? Even if they are not drinking any alcohol, they could have had a bad day or just get into a fight and start shooting. We certainly want to hear from you. Go over to our Facebook page and share your thoughts about this new law. Laura?
But Patrick, obviously not everyone is thrilled about strangers packing heat.
Folks from Gun Sense Coalition say it's hard to see a law like this passed in Georgia and that it's not a day to celebrate because it could be putting those who live in Georgia and those visiting Georgia at risk.
Coming up in the 6 o'clock hour, after less than 7 months of preparation, News 12's Karen Edwards says one local culinary program led their team to victory.
Right, Jess, the Fort Gordon culinary team brought back medals after competing in one of the largest culinary competitions in the nation. I'll give you all the details coming up.